let's see what he's got to say.
And the Congressional Budget Office, the Joint Economic Committee has estimated that roughly $250 billion are tax increases that will hit the middle class, either directly or through the health care products that they consume. In addition to this new national health insurance tax of $1,100 a year and other tax increases in Obamacare, Americans will see that health care costs will continue to rise. Despite the President's promise that his health care plan would reduce insurance premiums, premiums have increased by over $2,200 since Obama took office, according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. And according to the President's own actuary at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services in a report from this month on national health expenditure projections, premiums under the new health care law will rise faster than if we had done nothing at all. And I want to quote from that very report. It says, and I quote, in 2014, growth in private health insurance premiums is expected to accelerate to 7.9%, or 4.1 percentage points higher than in the absence of health reform, end quote. Now think about that, Mr. President, what's actually being said here. That the cost of health insurance would have gone up a lot less per year.
It says live up at the top, these are just speeches.
And what we did with this bill, which is to increase those expenditures for health care by about 7.9%. Americans are going to be stuck paying higher costs for health insurance, medical devices due to the tax on these sectors that this bill imposes. Americans know firsthand that we're going to continue to struggle with an economy that's not performing well.
Oh, you mean those 14 million out of work.
Remains at 8% now for 41 consecutive months.
Give us a bailout.
Now on the immediate horizon, the American people stare down an enormous tax increase from a health reform law that they didn't want and still don't want. Americans are also seeing this law has impacted our economy. According to a recent poll, 48% of businesses that are not currently hiring list the potential cost of health care regulations as a reason for not seeking new employees. And according to the Congressional Budget Office, Obamacare will mean 800,000 fewer jobs over the next decade. The last 3 years have made it very clear. Obamacare is making our economy worse by driving up costs and discouraging job creation.
Trying to take it down.
Congress needs to start by repealing Obamacare. We need to repeal Obamacare and enact common sense, step-by-step reforms that protect Americans' access to the care that they need from the doctor they choose at a lower cost. Republicans will not repeat the Democrats' mistakes. We will not rush to pass a massive bill that the American people don't support. We need to do this the right way.
Make sure
no backroom deals or 2,700-page bills that no one has read. This president owes it to Americans to admit his broken promises and to work with Republicans to put in place real health care reforms that will actually help lower health insurance costs for individuals and families and ensure that Americans can get the care they need when they need it. Mr. President, the taxes that I've mentioned in the health care law are going to add up to a massive tax increase on average ordinary Americans. And all the analysis that's been done by the Joint Committee on Taxation, the Congressional Budget Office, the Joint Economic Committee, comes to that very same conclusion. This is a tax. It's going to hit middle-income Americans, notwithstanding the President's promise that he would raise taxes on those making less than $200,000 a year.
That's us.
75% of that tax burden in that individual mandate tax, which is $54 billion, as I mentioned, will hit those making less than $120,000 per year.
Okay,
and so the whole idea of promises made, promises broken, I think is the narrative that's attached itself to this health care reform law, Mr. President. And I would submit that the United States Congress and the President need to work together to repeal this law and to work, as I said, in a constructive way to put in place common sense, step-by-step reforms that actually will drive the cost of health care down for Americans. Because that is the one thing that Americans, as they look at the health care economy today, want to see. They want to know that their costs are going to go down rather than up. Continue to see these increases in premiums year over year over year, and it continues to affect our economy. And the mandates that are imposed on employers in this health care law as well are going to lead to fewer jobs. That is the result, the outcome.
You see, folks, more taxes, fewer jobs, Obamacare.
It's higher costs for Americans.